Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us again today as part of our ongoing Epicor educational series. We really appreciate the continued support. I'm Steve Burns with Crawford Software, and today I'm joined by Crawford Software's founder and president, Steve Carr.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here today.
So today is the third and final webinar series highlighting the value of some of the standard solutions that Crawford Software develops and sells to Epicor customers. This webinar will focus on the features of automatic lines in order and quote entry, and will show how we add flexibility to the standard Epicor quote and order entry process with our automatic line processing. So before we begin, Steve, when did we start building standard solutions for Epicor?
Well, we've been a partner since the Vantage 8, Vista 8 days, and 9, and all through 10. And pretty much about 2 years into it, we started looking for opportunities to expand and improve the Epicor standard functionality, things that we saw good functionality, but maybe could just go one step beyond, like negative inventory. Epicor controls that on the part class. We moved that to the part master to give people more control, and you can do it at the central level or the site level.
Yes.
So we've been doing that since about 6 or 7 years now.
Wow. And we follow traditional software development practices and processes?
Yeah, as a software developer, and we've all worked on those type of projects. We're doing a full software development lifecycle protocol, functional design document, bring it through the process, testing internal. As an Epicor partner, we get all of the 10.2s, the newer releases, earlier than general release to customers.
Sure.
So they're installed in our servers. All of our customizations, all of our standard products are brought into that environment and run through a standard test cycle before they're released to our customers.
Excellent. So before Steve begins, I'll just give you a quick background on Crawford Software. So we are a trusted advisor to enterprise resource planning customers. Our goal is to improve efficiencies within the manufacturing market. We do that in a couple different ways. So if you're a new customer looking at ERP systems, what we can do is help provide evaluation and selection and implementation services to help you select the best in breed ERP system that is the best fit for your environment. Then if you're an existing Epicor customer, we provide business process reviews, business process improvement, and we do a lot of new module implementation. And these days we're doing, a lot of our time is spent doing upgrades to the latest version 10.2.200. Our goal is to really maximize efficiencies within your operations, right? Today's manufacturing environments have to do more with less. And our goal is to show customers the best way to utilize Epicor to maximize efficiencies that drive costs down and profitability up. So we talk about trusted advisor. We've been implementing ERP solutions for over 25 years. Now, the great story behind that is we've only been in business for 17. So for years prior to that, Steve was an independent consultant helping customers. Well, today, we still support and manage some of those customers a quarter of a century later. And how do we do that? We do that with about 35 worldwide consultants. And they're broken into two main areas. One is functional, and that may be either materials management or production planning, or we have a great team of finance experts that deal with AP, AR, GL, but they also deal with asset management and CRM as well. Our technical teams do a lot of system design and setup, as well as support customers from a system monitoring and support standpoint, which is a very big growing part of our business. We also offer a dedicated offshore team that's dedicated to Crawford Software. And what that does is allow customers to have availability of a cost savings alternative and flexibility. So if you're looking to do maybe an upgrade over the weekend, that gives customers that level of flexibility. So one of the unique features about Crawford Software is that we install and run every version of Epicor on our internal servers, whether that's going all the way back to Vista and Vantage, up through Epicor 9 and 10 and up to 10.2.200. What that allows us to do is perform your upgrade on our servers for all the right reasons. Lets us do internal testing and validation of your environment prior to any kind of go live event. And most importantly, we build standard solutions that help customers help all Epicor customers maintain or maximize the value of what they bought. So these enhancements help better the product and better their experience with the product, from either an overall process improvement or functionality improvement within Epicor ERP. So I just like this is a kind of a fun slide. Every year we do a customer satisfaction survey with our customers, with our partner in Navarro. And basically, net promoter score is taking customers that are unhappy with you and subtracting from those that are happy with your services. And what the NPS score shows is how satisfied your customers are with your service delivery. So you can see here, 2017, we had a NPS score of 93%. So you can see some of the really big companies that we have a higher NPS score of. So what that basically entails is that we have a tremendous amount of customer satisfaction. So I always put that up as kind of a fun slide. What I will do now is turn this over to Mr. Carr, and he can take us through his presentation. Steve, I'm going to go ahead and make you the presenter.
Yep. If you bear with us just a second, everybody, as we go through the fun process of changing computers and changing screens. Mr. Burns, you're in the webinar, so if you can just let me know when you...
I see you, Steve.
All right. So we'll try to go through the PowerPoint slide a little bit quicker. This is a very straightforward piece of functionality, so I don't think we'll need the entire hour, so we'll give some people some time back to everybody that's out there, unless there's a lot of questions, which we are prepared to answer anything that you might have. So starting off, going through it, the first thing we want to talk about is the agenda, and I'm going to cover that now, and that'll set the tone for where we're going for the whole thing. So first, I want to go over what is automatic order line entry, what does it do, why did we create it, what could you possibly use it for. Then we'll go through a couple of slides that talk about the functionality, reviewing that as far as what you do for maintenance and setup to get using it. And then what transactions have been updated in the Epicor ERP system that utilize this new functionality. Then, because I know PowerPoint's boring, we're going to hop right over to a system demo. I'll actually bring you through the screen, show you how it works, show you the features, where we've built it in. And I think it'll actually be a lot clearer through that process than through the PowerPoint presentation. But I think between the two, you get a very good understanding of how it works and what it's meant to do. Then we'll go ahead and do a little bit of an overview of what's coming in the 2.0 release. So what we're showing you right now is Automatic Line Entry 1.0, the first release of this. As it's a standard product, we're always looking to improve it. We're always looking to add functionality to it. Release 2.0 is actually in beta testing on our internal servers right now, and we'll go out to the customers that have already had it next week and let them start doing some beta testing with it also. And it's scheduled for release later on this year. Then we'll go through how the installation setup and support works with our standard products. Quick overview of some of the other standard solutions we have available, and then open it up for questions and answers on the automatic lines or any of the other products that you've seen on the list. All right. So moving ahead, automatic line processing. What did this feature set up? What is it meant to do? So what we've done with this functionality is let you create a series of setup maintenance menus that allow you to basically say, when I do a promotion or an upgrade or a certain type of service repair or a certain type of in-house service or a recall, there can be a group of products, could be 1, could be 10, could be 15, whatever you need to have, that you want to make sure are included on every quote, every sales order associated with that promotion. So we group them together in this type of functionality to give you some additional features and functionality besides having a business procedure that tells the user to go ahead and take whenever the customer calls in and asks for X, Y, Z. You might use a sales kit, but that's not going to do some of the overrides and functionality that we're doing here. They might miss it if it's just a business procedure. This brings it all together into one solution and gives you some more control so that you can drive the product group to a different one, which is going to let you do different things with the GL postings. So it might be a part that you normally do sell right off the shelf, or you fabricate it and deliver it to a customer, but you have that under fabricated parts for your product group. But for this particular promotion, we want to be able to track it. We want to charge the cost differently and possibly track the revenue differently. We can override that to a special product group and have that GL control at that time. So that's what it's meant to do. That's the functionality that's meant to provide for users. the setup transactions. They're pretty straightforward. There's two of them inside the Epicor system that we've created for this. The first one that we have for the setup is the line types. And in that line types, as you can see on the upper right-hand screen, this menu one here, what you're doing is you're creating a line type, which is an 8-character string that identifies the line type. In the case of the example that you're going to see in our demo here, we've used diesel 01, diesel 02, 3, and 4. Just a code that basically identifies diesel upgrade 1, 2, 3, and 4. So there's 4 different options in this promotional campaign that we're doing right now. The other thing that you're doing there is putting in the description and then the sequence number. The sequence number is basically going to be a 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 type of numeric sequence, and the system will determine what the next number is and propose it automatically. But when you're creating those entries, when you enter in that sequence number, it's determining how they're displayed in the sales order or quote entry screens, and in that order. So in this case, when you see our actual live demo, you'll see that we created them as 10, 20, 30, 40 for diesel upgrade level 1, level 2, level 3, and level 4, and that's why the menu choice is showing up in this order. So again, very straightforward functionality, pretty easy to understand what it's doing and what the control is. The second part of it is the order line maintenance, and this is where the real details come to play inside this functionality. So the line type is here, line type diesel 01 as I talked about. The description is displayed to you, and that's what's happening here. And then the sequence number is displayed in this case because I called up all the existing entries. In the creation of a new entry, that sequence number would be proposed as the next one. So in the level 1, we have 3 lines our entry. If I start creating another line for the diesel 01, it's going to propose sequence number 40. And what that sequence number is controlling now is a second sequence number that controls how the lines are added to the sales order. So they're added as line sequence number 10, then sequence number 20, then sequence number 30. Again, just a counter, but it controls and gives you control not only of grouping them together and linking the right parts to a particular promotional code, but then additionally controlling how the lines are added to the sales order if it's important for presentation purposes or anything else you want to do on the sales order. Next, you have the part description. We take the part description from the part master, we put it into the screen, but we allow you to override it. If you want to change it for something that's related to the promotional or the service recall, so you have the opportunity to override the description so it ties it to a particular event or transaction. The product group, that's the one we talked about earlier. You have the product group here. In this particular case, these test parts, and I'll show you when I go through the demo, are all identified as product group fabricated. In this case, we're now overriding them to the diesel upgrade program of 2018 for these particular automatic line setups that we're doing. That's going to carry through over to the sales order lines when these lines are populated and added to either a sales order or to a quote. And then finally, the order quantity. How many of these do we want to set the order quantity to? Those are all functionality and features that are here. The only ones that you're required to put in are the part number and the order quantity. If you don't enter a part description, we will use the part description from the part master, just like standard order entry and quote entry functionality does. If you don't enter a product group, the same standard ERP functionality as far as determination of the product group will take control. We won't do any type of an override. So that's it as far as the setup process. Again, pretty straightforward, not a lot of difficulty in doing this, but a lot of flexibility in the way we've designed it by giving you the two pieces and going through it. The new transactions that have been updated in the ERP system to accommodate this, it's a pretty short list for this one. It's a longer list for some of our other ones, like our product lifecycle there. It's everything related to a bill of material, every movement, every inventory transaction. In this case, it's just quote entry and order entry. Those are the only two that this is meant to impact. And you'll see it in the screen entry. The only thing we did was we added new functionality to the actions menu. And when we go through the demo, you get a little more detail on that and going through it. All right. With that, we'll go right into the system demo. I think it works out a little bit better in seeing it rather than just seeing PowerPoint and falling asleep to a PowerPoint presentation. So the first thing you have when you're going through it is we talked about the line type. This is the line type maintenance that I was referring to. There's the diesel 01 that we had first set up. There's the code, description, and again, a sequence number. So again, all this is doing is how is that tree built on the menu screen when you go from the sales order, actions, order line. Now you see them all coming out from there. The create process just basically opens everything up. You're allowed to assign your own code, a description, and you can see we're automatically defaulting to 50. We already know we have 4 lines here already, so we built the smarts into the process to go ahead and bring it up to the next sequence number. It wants to assume you're going to build them from the beginning to the end. All right. So that's the first setup program. Once you've done that, you've now established the menu selection from the actions order line or quote entry line. Bringing it to the next one, the next setup screen that we have is the order line maintenance themselves. So in this one, I'll go ahead and clear this up and show you from all of them. So if I clear the screen, and let's go and find all of them, we'll do a search. Again, standard Epicor functionality is working everywhere we go. So what you're doing here, when you're going through the process, you're picking that line type, which is the first setup we did. The description will be brought in from that field, non-maintainable. Because these entries are already existing, the sequence number that's here is not maintainable because it's already been assigned. In a new entry, it would go to the very next sequence number. So as you can see in here, the diesel upgrade level 1, there are 2 entries. If I start creating another record, it's going to default a sequence number of 30 because this is the sequence number that controls the lines and how they're entered on the sales order once you choose diesel 01 from the actions menu. Again, as we talked about, you put in a part number, you put in a quantity. Those are the main things that are really required to have the functionality work. The other 2 are there if you want to make changes and overrides to it. So you've got the ability, the part description, once you enter a new part, is called in from the part master, and then it brings in the product group from the part master. Now, if anyone was paying attention, notice that switched. That switched because I tabbed from the part number down to the next field, and it automatically did a refresh back to the part master. And what we want to do is this should actually be part of the diesel upgrade program. And if you come to the list view that we've included, you can see all of them are set up that way. So they're all assigned to the diesel upgrade program. What that means is I'm going to, as I pick action, item number 2. Line number 10 is going to be added with this part number, the performance intake. Line number 20 is going to be added for the performance tuner and programming. And line number 30 is going to be added for the diverter, airflow diverter in black. And again, if you wanted to, you can override this part description. And if it's been changed, that's what's copied over to the sales order. And then the line order quantity is set equal to the value they've entered here. So again, pretty straightforward functionality. I think it makes sense. Hopefully it does. I think it'll make more sense now when we go in and actually create a sales order and you'll see it go through the process there. That brings all the pieces together. I'm only going to go through the order entry process because in the quote entry, it's exactly the same. They're not any different. They work exactly the same. They're from the actions menu in the same place. So don't want to bore anyone to death going through the same thing twice for no reason. So let's go ahead and go to sales order entry. And what I will do is I'm going to go ahead and just clear the sales order. I was already in here. So let me just clear the screen. And we'll start a new sales order. And we'll put in our customer record. Tab off of that. Identify the billing and all the attentions, all the things that you have to do in standard Epicor as far as creating a sales order 2016-06-06. And we'll set it up for Friday delivery. And we have to ship it a couple days ahead of time just because it takes some real time to get there. We'll save that. At this point in time, we've done nothing that's outside of the standard Epicor functionality, everything you're normally used to doing for creating a sales order. What's happened, because this is now set up with our enhancement, our standard product added into it, when you go to the actions menu and you go to the order line, you have a new menu choice, add automatic order lines. And as you can see, it matches those order types that we talked about, diesel 1, diesel 2, diesel 3, and diesel 4. Those are right from the first config and setup screen that we did where we controlled what was displayed. That's the description that we entered there. We can change that if we want to. We just made it very mechanical for a demo, so it was very easy to see the differences between the two. And this is going to be the functionality that comes in place. So now when I go ahead and choose diesel upgrade level 3, system's going out. It's gone back now to that second setup table that we did. It's getting mad at me because this particular part does not have a valid text category. It has the word none in it, and I had actually already fixed that, so I apologize. That also does prove this is a working demo. So let me actually go ahead and clear these lines off just so I get one that actually does work. But that's why it's doing that. It's set it to a none, and I thought I had fixed it. I only fixed it on one of the parts, not all of them. So I apologize. I'm going to take that out and save that. But I wanted to actually show the difference between the two. So if you don't mind, bear with me a second. I'm going to do a little bit of cleanup and get rid of the lines that were added. While we have some network fun, I'm going to clear this one off. And I need to go fix my master data because that product record still has the word none selected in it, which is an invalid combination. So let's go ahead and do the actions. Order line, automatic order lines will go with number 2, which has the black inverter, so I know that that one's been corrected. Now when we go ahead and go through that, we come inside of here, you can see there are 3 sales order lines added to it. You can see that on all of them, the product group has been updated to Diesel Upgrade 2018 to align with what we put on the Phantom ones. And just in case you're curious, if we do a split screen with this, we'll put this over here, put this over here, bring the search down to just the O2 one. And they're the 3 parts, the O2, the O4, and the AD Phantom, and they were all upgraded to that. So that's what it's meant to be as far as the functionality, what it's doing for you. Again, it's giving you that capability to create a promotion or service call or something defined in the system and remove some of the potential for user error processing, your user errors in doing the processing, forgetting to set the product group, forgetting to set the quantity, some of the other fields that might be controlled from this. All right. Now, unfortunately, we do have to return to the PowerPoint. So we've done through the system demo. Let me give you a couple. What's new in Release 2.0? That was the next thing we want to talk about. So that's, again, was Release 1.0 of the product. Release 2.0, we're bringing the next set of features into functionality. And again, as I said, that's in beta testing right now, both internal and with a couple of customers who have already purchased the product. Release 2.0, what are we bringing into it? Pricing. So now you can enter a selling price and a unit of measure or a price list on that order line maintenance screen. So now not only do we copy over the product group and affect possibly the GL posting, possibly the warranty codes, whatever you'd like to do, you can now link this to and have a specific selling price for that each individual part and the unit of measure. That will get overridden on the sales order, or you can enter a price list. And when you enter a price list, you're going to get that standard Epicor functionality as far as it's going to go ahead and look for the price list, the part number match, and set it according to all the rules that you've defined as far as functionality to customer specific and anything else that you might have defined. Okay. The other thing that's currently in the 2.0 release is enhanced security. So when I was actually in the system, as if you was in the order entry screen, I'll hop back over there real quick. And again, this is the 1.0 version. If you take a look at it, we copied everything in. We set the part master. We set the description. We set the product group. But the fields are still open because of standard sales order entry at this point in time. What we're doing with Release 2.0 is we are actually going to go ahead and put another set of control measures on the line item maintenance screen, and you're going to have 2 checkboxes. Allow the user to override and change the values in quote entry or in order entry. When that field is blank, all of the fields that are in the order line maintenance screen, the product group, the unit price, the unit of measure for the price, the sales price list, product description, product group, will be grayed out. The user will not be able to maintain them if they've been copied from the automatic line process. So if they use that actions, lines, copied them in, they can't change them unless you specifically make an intentional to put a checkbox on that to allow them. And again, there's one checkbox for the quote process and one checkbox for the sales order process. So that's what's new in 2.0 at this time. And 3.0 is already in the drawing stages and getting ready for it. All right. Just a brief overview of our software standard solutions, the installation setup and everything. Installation is done. We do everything in our development through an SDK process. So it's a DLL. We walk through the process of putting the new DLLs onto your server and walk through and give you an idea of the right process to push them out to any of the customer any of the clients that are installed on local laptops and computers. Training, we always include training via a virtual classroom. And as you can see, this one's pretty straightforward, but we still have it and still make it available and make sure that everyone that in your organization knows how to use it, knows what the functionality is. Again, it's an Epicor menu choice, so standard security applies. I didn't put that on here, but obviously you're giving them control whether or not they can see it in the menu. Setup, we will walk you through, and if you've got that first example, maybe you're doing a diesel promotion, we'll help you set up the first example, make sure, walk through some test cases, and make sure it's working in your system. And then support. All of our standard solutions come with an annual maintenance support contract. It's not your Epicor ERP maintenance support contract with us. We offer them both on our standard solutions and also as a first line for Epicor ERP. So if you want a frontline support where you might get a little bit more of how-to versus bug fixes, we offer that solution also. But customers that are on our maintenance for our standard solutions will get release 2.0, release 3.0 when it's available to the general public. All right. Some of the other standard solutions we have developed for Epicor ERP, and Mr. Burns can answer any questions if you have some details about that, or if you want to ask them while we're on the line now. So we have incoming inspection. That's one of those features, that functionality. We brought it to the part level. So instead of having it on the supplier record or on the part class record, it's now on the part, both at the central level or the site level. Same thing with negative inventory, one of the ones I mentioned earlier. Whether or not the part can go into a negative situation, we can now give you the control. All of these are done with our function and featurality is above and beyond Epicor's ERP. So if you haven't set this flag or you've had no controls on them, it reverts back to standard Epicor functionality if you haven't done anything with the new enhancement. The as required, we developed ours for 9, and we added some more features that aren't in they're a little bit better than the Epicor standard product for the as required, because we give you the ability to put a comment, a note in of how much should be used in the as required process, just so it prints on the traveler but doesn't drive any inventory. Product life cycle, that one's a very long one. Then you can look at the webinar that was already posted, the PowerPoint that was already posted. But the short version of that is giving you full control of the part master from introduction to end of life, and whether or not it can be used on what types of transactions. Is it a warning? Is it an error? You can do it in purchase order, purchase rec. And again, that's one that we'll be happy to go through in more detail than if you'd like to. Multi-level PO approvals is also out there, both for purchase orders and for purchase requisitions. Standard functionality says one release based on dollar amount. We have a sliding scale that you control, same type of setup menus we've shown. And the PO approval one is also another webinar you can see that we've already done. And you can set dollar thresholds, and it'll go through a workflow process to get multiple approvals as needed. All right. Okay. As far as that, I'd just like to say thank you for everyone. Check out the website. There are more business procedures, tips and tricks, and other things available there.
Great. Steve, thanks. It's always great insight. Folks, we did have a couple questions come in, but if you would like to ask Steve a question, he'll stay a little long. We're a little short, so we can certainly have time to answer some questions. There's a couple ways you can ask a question. There's a question box as well as a chat box on your blog. And feel free just to go ahead and ask any question that you would like. The first question that we got, Steve, if I've already customized my order entry screen, how do you install this?
So if it's a customer that is, we've done the customization enhancements, we already have them. So the purchase price would include, and we would understand what those are, and we would apply those same customizations to the standard product to make sure your functionality works exactly the same as it now with increased functionality. If it's a customer that does not have customizations done through us, whether they've used another partner, Epicor, or done them themselves, we've got a buffer of 20 hours built into the purchase price for applying those same customizations to the standard solution and blending the two together. If it ended up a very complicated one that the customer had done a lot of changes, we might have to, come back. It's going to be more than 20 hours, then we'll have a separate offline review with them for that.
Perfect. Very important question. What is the timing of the release of 2.0?
2.0 right now is scheduled for general release at the end of July. Like I said, it's in beta testing right now. Release 3.0 is already in process, but it's open to, as we talked about with all of our standard products, if you've already purchased them, you're on support, you have the opportunity to make recommendations for enhancements and improvements to it, along with, of course, which we don't have, but you can submit a bug request if you find something that doesn't work, which we hope doesn't happen.
And I wanted to let everybody know that when we log off today, you'll be presented a survey. And the survey, basically, we're asking our customers and prospects, what other standard solutions would you like to see within Epicor? Is there any parts of Epicor that you feel need improvement? We would love that feedback. Okay. So it looked like there was no other questions. So I want to say thank you for everyone for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed today's webinar. Steve's always a great speaker and provides great insight with all those years of experience. Please visit our website at http://www.crawford-software.com for more information on upcoming webinars. Our next webinar will review the new features and functionality in Epicor 10.2 for order management. Be held on Wednesday, June 20th, 2018 at noontime. You can register from our website or look from an email invitation that'll come from us shortly. So again, on behalf of Steve Carr and everyone at the Crawford Software team, I want to thank you for joining us today and hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you.